The bomber catches fire at 0934 hours on April 18, 1943. First Lieutenant Rex Barber's Lockheed P-38 Lightning closes from behind. Range 300 yards. The Mitsubishi G4M Betty is diving toward the jungle. Desperate. The right engine takes hits first. 20mm cannon shells. 50 caliber machine gun bullets. The engine cowling shreds. Fire erupts immediately. Barber continues firing. The fuselage takes hits. The left engine takes hits. More fire. The Betty's wing is burning. The entire aircraft is burning. It rolls violently left. Barber breaks off to avoid collision. The Betty continues rolling. It impacts the jungle canopy doing 200 miles per hour. The explosion scatters wreckage across 500 yards. There are 11 men aboard. One of them is Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, Commander-in-Chief of the Combined Fleet of the Imperial Japanese Navy, architect of Pearl Harbor, the most important Japanese military leader in the Pacific War. He dies because his aircraft is a flying bomb waiting for ignition. The Mitsubishi G4M exists because the Imperial Japanese Navy demands impossibility. September 1937. The Navy issues specifications to Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. The requirements: twin-engine land-based medium bomber. Maximum speed: 398 kilometers per hour. Cruising altitude: 3,000 meters. Range: 4,722 kilometers unloaded. Range: 3,700 kilometers, carrying 800-kilogram torpedo or equivalent bomb load. These specifications are unprecedented. No bomber in the world combines this speed and range. The United States has nothing comparable. Britain has nothing comparable. Germany has nothing comparable. Japan demands it anyway. Kiro Honjo leads the design team. Honjo graduated Tokyo Imperial University, 1928. Joined Mitsubishi, 1928. Worked on G3M bomber, medium bomber. Excellent range. First flew July 1935. Range over 3,500 kilometers. But G3M is slow. Maximum speed: 370 kilometers per hour. Inadequate for 1937 requirements. Honjo must design better, faster, longer range. The solution is weight reduction. Everything must weigh less. Structure must weigh less. Systems must weigh less. Protection must weigh less. Actually, protection must not exist. No armor. No self-sealing fuel tanks. These are heavy. These reduce range. The Navy wants range. Honjo gives them range. The cost is survivability. The design process splits between G4M and A6M fighter. Same team, same philosophy. Range over protection, speed over armor. The Zero will become famous for this. Exceptional maneuverability. Long range, no armor, no self-sealing tanks. Pilots die when hit. The G4M follows identical philosophy. Larger aircraft, same vulnerabilities. The prototype flies October 19, 1939. Test pilot: Katsuzoshima. Initial tests are promising. Speed exceeds specifications. Range exceeds specifications. Handling is acceptable. The Navy orders production. The G4M1 Model 11 enters production April 1941. Specifications: wingspan 25 meters. Length 20.33 meters. Height 6 meters. Wing area 78.13 square meters. Empty weight 6,800 kilograms. Maximum takeoff weight 9,500 kilograms. Power plant: 2 Mitsubishi Mk4 Akase 11 14-cylinder radial engines, 1,530 horsepower each at takeoff, 2,800 RPM. Direct fuel injection, single-stage supercharger. These engines provide excellent power, but they are air-cooled radials. Large frontal area, drag penalty. Honjo minimizes this through careful cowling design. Streamlined nacelles. The drag coefficient is good for radial-powered bomber. The fuel system is integral to the wing. The wing structure forms the fuel tanks. No separate tanks. No rubber bladders. The aluminum wing skin is sealed with compound. Fuel goes directly into wing cavities. Total capacity: 4,570 liters. An additional 1,090 liters in fuselage tank. Total fuel: 5,660 liters. Approximately 1,486 U.S. gallons. This fuel capacity provides the range: 3,350 miles maximum. But the fuel is completely unprotected. No self-sealing liners. No inert gas system. No carbon dioxide fire suppression in early models. Later models add carbon dioxide, but it is inadequate. Rubber sheets are installed beneath wing fuel tanks in Model 12. This provides minimal protection. A hit that punctures the wing skin allows fuel to leak. The rubber sheet might slow the leak, but if the hit ignites the fuel, the rubber does nothing. The fire spreads through the wing. The wing structure is aluminum. Aluminum melts at 660 degrees Celsius. Aviation fuel burns at over 1,000 degrees Celsius. The wing melts. The aircraft falls. Defensive armament. 4 7.7 millimeter Type 92 machine guns. 1 in nose, 1 in dorsal position, 2 in waist positions. 1 20 millimeter Type 99 cannon in tail. This armament is heavy for 1941. American bombers carry fewer guns. British bombers carry fewer guns, but machine guns are defensive weapons. They cannot stop determined attack. The tail cannon can damage fighters, can destroy fighters if hits are solid. But one cannon cannot engage multiple attackers. The G4M requires escort or altitude for survival. At high altitude, fighters struggle to intercept. At medium to low altitude, the G4M is vulnerable. The crew is 7. Pilot, co-pilot, navigator/bombardier, radio operator, 3 gunners. The cockpit has no armor. The seats have no armor. The crew positions have no armor. A single bullet through the cockpit can kill the pilot, can kill both pilots. The aircraft becomes uncontrollable. It crashes. This happens repeatedly. The crews call the G4M Hamaki, cigar, because of the cylindrical fuselage. Actually, they call it Type 1 Zippo lighter, because it ignites easily. This is dark humor, accurate humor. Combat debut, May 1941, Southeast China. Bombing missions against Chinese forces. Limited opposition. Chinese Air Force has few modern fighters. The G4M performs well. Speed allows escape before interception. Range allows attacks from distant bases. The bombing is effective, but this is not real test. Real test comes December 1941. December 8th, 1941. Morning. G4M bombers from 22nd Air Flotilla attack Clark Field, Philippines. The attack coordinates with Pearl Harbor assault. Pearl Harbor, December 7th Hawaii time, December 8th Philippine time. International dateline. The Clark Field attack devastates American air power in Philippines. Boeing B-17 flying fortresses destroyed on ground. Curtiss P-40 Warhawks destroyed on ground. The G4M bombers encounter minimal opposition. Fly home safely. First success, December 10th, 1941. South China Sea. G4M bombers and G3M bombers from 22nd Air Flotilla attack Force Z. Force Z. British battleship HMS Prince of Wales. Battlecruiser HMS Repulse. 4 destroyers. No air cover. The British believed capital ships could defend themselves with anti-aircraft fire. They were wrong. The Japanese attack with torpedoes and bombs. High-level bombing. Torpedo bombing at low level. Multiple waves. Prince of Wales takes 4 torpedo hits. 2 bomb hits. Repulse takes 5 torpedo hits. 1 bomb hit. Both ships sink. 840 men die. This is first time aircraft sink capital ships actively defending themselves in open sea. Previous naval air attacks targeted harbored ships or ships with no anti-aircraft capability. Force Z has full anti-aircraft armament. Fires constantly, shoots down 3 aircraft. Not enough. The Japanese sink both ships in 2 hours. The G4M proves itself. Naval strike aircraft, long range, heavy armament, capable of destroying largest warships. This is triumph. Then reality arrives. The Battle of the Coral Sea, May 4 through 8, 1942. G4M bombers from 4th Air Group attack Allied naval forces, May 7th. Bombers attack American carriers. Anti-aircraft fire is intense. Grumman F-4F Wildcat fighters intercept. The Wildcats are not modern. They are slower than Japanese A6M0, less maneuverable. But they have armor. They have self-sealing fuel tanks. They can absorb damage. They can continue fighting. The G4Ms cannot. Wildcats shoot down multiple G4Ms. 1 burst. 2 bursts. The G4M catches fire. Fights. Crew dies. The pattern establishes itself. The Battle of Midway, June 4 through 7, 1942. G4M bombers from 2nd Air Group based at Wake Island attack Midway Atoll, June 4th. 9 G4Ms attack. Fighter opposition. Grumman F-4F Wildcats. Brewster F-2A Buffaloes. Even the Buffalo, worst American fighter in service, can destroy G4Ms. The unprotected fuel tanks are fatal vulnerability. 3 G4Ms lost. 33% loss rate. 1 mission. This is unsustainable. Guadalcanal. August 1942 through February 1943. G4M bombers attack Henderson Field repeatedly. Bomb the airfield. Bomb the aircraft. Bomb the supplies. Every mission suffers losses. American fighters intercept. Wildcats initially. Later. Lockheed P-38 Lightnings. Later. Chancevod F-4U Corsairs. Each type can destroy G4Ms easily. The P-38 has 450 caliber machine guns and 120mm cannon in nose. Concentrated firepower. No convergence issues. The Lightning points at target. Fires. Target burns. The Corsair has 650 caliber machine guns. Tremendous firepower. One burst destroys engines. Destroys fuel tanks. The G4M losses mount. Every raid. Every mission. Crews volunteer knowing odds. Fatalism develops. We will die. Question is when, not if. Mitsubishi attempts improvements. G4M1 Model 12. Improved CASE 15 engines. Better high-altitude performance. Rubber sheets under fuel tanks. Carbon dioxide fire extinguisher system. Flat glazed panels replace fuselage blisters. These modifications help slightly. Loss rates remain catastrophic. G4M2 Model 22. New laminar flow wing. Enlarged tail. Improved nose glazing. CASE 21 engines with water methanol injection. 1,800 horsepower. Additional fuel capacity. Improved armament. Dorsal 7.7mm gun replaced with 20mm cannon. Side 7.7mm guns replaced with 20mm cannons. Heavy defensive firepower. Still no armor. Still no self-sealing tanks. Still catches fire. Still burns. G4M3 Model 34. Complete redesign. Attempt to fix fundamental problems. New wing structure. Self-sealing fuel tanks finally installed. Armor protection for crew positions. Armored tail turret. These modifications work. The G4M3 survives hits. Returns to base damaged. Crews survive. But fuel capacity reduced from 6,490 liters to 4,490 liters. Range reduced from 3,300 miles to 2,450 miles. By time G4M3 enters production, Japan is losing, Pacific Islands falling, bases overrun. Range no longer matters because forward bases no longer exist. The aircraft that might have been survivable arrives when survival no longer matters. Total production, 2,414 aircraft, all variants combined. This makes G4M most produced Japanese bomber of war, more than any other type. The Navy relies on it. No replacement exists. The G5N prototype bomber, 4 engines. Enormous. Intended as heavy bomber, never enters production. Technical problems. G7M prototype, intended G4M replacement, never enters production. Material shortages. The G4M must serve entire war. Despite losses, despite casualties, despite crews knowing every mission might be last, they fly anyway. Duty. Honor. Death. April 14, 1943. Morning. Multiple United States radio intercept stations copy Japanese naval message, encoded in JN25D cipher. The message goes to Fleet Radio Unit Pacific at Pearl Harbor. Station Hypo. Navy cryptographers begin work. The team includes future Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens. They break the code. The message contains detailed itinerary for Admiral Yamamoto inspection tour. Solomon Islands. Bougainville. April 18th. Exact times. Exact locations. Exact flight paths. Admiral Chester William Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief United States Pacific Fleet, reads the decrypt. He consults Commander Edwin Layton, Fleet Intelligence Officer. Layton knows Yamamoto personally, served as Naval Attaché Tokyo before war, knows Yamamoto's capabilities, knows no other Japanese admiral matches him. Nimitz asks, "Do we try to get him?" Layton answers, "Yes, we must." Nimitz consults Secretary of Navy Frank Knox. Knox consults President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Reportedly, Roosevelt says, "Get Yamamoto." The order flows down. Vice Admiral William Frederick Halsey, Commander South Pacific Area, plans the operation. Rear Admiral Mark Andrew Mitcher, Commander Aircraft Solomons, executes. Major John William Mitchell, 339th Fighter Squadron, flies the mission. The problem is distance. Guadalcanal to Bougainville, 400 miles direct, but direct route crosses Japanese-held territory. Japanese radar, Japanese observers. The route must avoid detection. circuitous path, west then north. Total distance, 600 miles outbound, 400 miles return, 1,000 miles total. No Navy or Marine fighter on Guadalcanal has this range. Grumman F-4F Wildcat. Range 770 miles maximum. Chancevod F-4U Corsair. Range 1,015 miles maximum. Barely sufficient. But Corsair does not have drop tanks. Maximum range means no combat time. No margin. Unacceptable. The only aircraft with sufficient range. Lockheed P-38G Lightning. 339th Fighter Squadron. 18th P-38s. 16 for attack. 2 spares. Each aircraft equipped with 165-gallon drop tank under each wing. Total, 330 gallons auxiliary fuel. With drop tanks. Range, 1,500 miles. Sufficient. Barely. Specifications of P-38G. Twin-engine fighter. 2 Allison V-1710 engines. 1,150 horsepower each. Twin-boom configuration. Central nacelle contains cockpit and armament. Armament. 120mm Hispano cannon. 450 caliber Browning machine guns. All weapons in nose. Concentrated fire. No convergence. Maximum speed. 414 miles per hour. Service ceiling. 39,000 feet. The Lightning is fast, long-ranged, heavily armed. But it is not maneuverable like single-engine fighters. It is heavy. It has high wing loading. It cannot dogfight Zeros effectively. Must use speed. Must use altitude. Must use firepower. Hit and run. Major Mitchell receives orders evening, April 17th. Command dugout. Henderson Field, Guadalcanal. Navy and Marine brass present Admiral Mitchell briefs. Yamamoto inspection tour. Tomorrow, April 18th. Coincidentally, first anniversary of Doolittle raid. Yamamoto schedule. Depart Rabaul 0600 hours local time. Arrive Balal Airfield near Bougainville 0745. The Japanese used 2 Mitsubishi G4M Betty bombers. Transport configuration. Unarmed. 6 Mitsubishi A6M0 fighters escort. Yamamoto, known for punctuality, will arrive exactly on time. Intercept must occur before landing. After landing, ground defenses protect him. Anti-aircraft guns. More fighters. Impossible to attack on ground. Must attack in air. Mitchell plans the route. 5 legs. Precise navigation. Dead reckoning over ocean. No landmarks. Maintain radio silence. Fly at minimum altitude to avoid Japanese radar. 50 feet above water. Wave top level. 2 hours flying time outbound. Timing must be exact. Early arrival. Japanese not there yet. Late arrival. Japanese already landed. Either way, mission failure. Mitchell calculates airspeed. Calculates wind. Calculates each leg. The navigation must be perfect. 18 pilots briefed. Killer flight. 4 aircraft. Captain Thomas George Lanphier, Jr. First Lieutenant Rex Theodore Barber. First Lieutenant James Dangerfield McClanahan. First Lieutenant Joseph Francis Moore. These 4 attack bombers. Cover flight. 12 aircraft plus 2 spares. Major Mitchell leads cover flight. Mission. Engage Zero escorts. Prevent interference with killer flight. Keep Zeros busy while killer flight destroys bombers. The pilots understand implications. This is assassination mission. Targeted killing of specific individual, not random combat. Not opportunity target. Deliberate execution. Some pilots uncomfortable. Yamamoto is military officer. Legitimate target. But targeted assassination feels different than combat. Mitchell addresses this. Yamamoto planned Pearl Harbor. Yamamoto killed American sailors. Yamamoto legitimate military target. High-value target. President Roosevelt authorized this. The discussion ends. The mission proceeds. April 18th, 1943. 0710 hours. 18. P-38s take off Henderson Field. 2 additional aircraft as spares. 20 total. Formation assembles. Mitchell leads north. The route heads west into Coral Sea, then northwest, then north toward Bougainville. The aircraft fly 50 feet above water. Spray from prop wash. Waves breaking. The formation maintains radio silence. Absolute silence. The flight is uneventful. Hot. Tedious. 2 hours over empty ocean. Some pilots count sharks. Some count driftwood. Mitchell navigates by compass. Airspeed. Time. No deviation. Perfect execution. En route. 2 aircraft develop mechanical problems. The 2 spares replace them. The spares drop their belly tanks. Take position. 18 aircraft continue. 16 attack aircraft. 2 returned. 0933 hours. The formation approaches Bougainville west coast. The timing is exact. Mitchell's navigation is perfect. The P-38s climb from wave level. Gain altitude. First Lieutenant Douglas Stanton Canning calls. Bogies. 11 o'clock high. The Japanese formation appears exactly as briefed. 2 Betty bombers. 6 Zero escorts. The Zeros fly above and behind bombers. Standard escort formation. The bombers fly approximately 5,000 feet, descending toward Balal, 15 minutes from landing. The Americans jettison drop tanks. Throttles forward. Maximum power. Climb. The Zeros see them. Nose down. Dive to intercept. The cover flight engages Zeros. 12 P-38s versus 6 Zeros. The dogfight begins. Turning. Climbing. Diving. The P-38s use speed and altitude. The Zeros use maneuverability. The combat is intense but brief. The killer flight ignores this. They focus on bombers. Lanfear and Barber dive on bombers. The 2 Bettys separate. One turns left toward jungle. One continues straight. Lanfear pursues the one turning left. Barber pursues the one continuing straight. McClanahan and Moore engage Zeros. Equipment malfunction. Cannot jettison belly tanks? Cannot fight effectively with tanks attached. They withdraw. Lanfear and Barber are alone. The Betty turning left is Yamamoto's aircraft. The pilot dives for the jungle canopy. Treetop level. Desperate evasion. Lanfear pursues, but Zeros engage him. He must fight Zeros. Cannot pursue bomber. Barber is free. No Zeros on him. He dives on Yamamoto's Betty. Range closes. 300 yards. 200 yards. Barber opens fire. 20mm cannon. 450 caliber machine guns. All 5 weapons. The right engine of Betty takes hits. Cowling shreds. Fire erupts. Oil stream. Black smoke. Barber continues firing. Traverses fire across fuselage. The Betty is cigar-shaped. Large target. Easy to hit. Rounds impact fuselage. Penetrate aluminum skin. Continue through interior. Hit fuel tanks. Hit crew. Hit structure. The left engine takes hits. More fire. The Betty is burning. Both engines. Fuselage. Wing root. Fire spreads rapidly. Uncontrolled. The Betty rolls left. Violent maneuver. Pilot loses control or pilot already dead. The roll continues. Inverted. Still rolling. Nose drops. The bomber impacts jungle canopy. Still rolling. Airspeed approximately 200 miles per hour. The impact is catastrophic. Aluminum structure versus trees. Trees win. The fuselage breaks apart. Wreckage scatters. Fuel ignites. Massive fireball. Black smoke column rises. Visible for miles. Barber breaks left. Avoids debris. Searches for second Betty. The second Betty, carrying Vice Admiral Matomi Ugaki and staff officers, flies low over water. Attempting escape. Barber locates it. Attacks. Opens fire. Hits engines. Hits fuselage. The Betty crashes into sea. Full speed impact. Water floods fuselage. 3 survivors. Ugaki is 1. Severely injured but alive. The Betty sinks. Crew and passengers drown or die from injuries. Ugaki survives. Rescued by Japanese forces. The cover flight engages Zeros. Claims 4 destroyed. Actual Japanese losses, 0. All 6 Zeros return to Rabaul. Claims 3 P-38s destroyed. Actual American losses, 1. First Lieutenant Raymond Kinney Hine. Cause of loss disputed. Possibly shot down by Zero pilot Kenji Yanagiya. Possibly mechanical failure. Possibly friendly fire. Unknown. Hine does not return. Body never recovered. Listed missing. Later declared killed in action. The P-38s withdraw. Fuel state critical. 1,000 miles return to Guadalcanal. Some aircraft running on fumes. All land safely except Hine. Mitchell reports mission success. 2 bombers destroyed. Claims he believes senior officer aboard 1 bomber. Does not know if Yamamoto intelligence will confirm later. The pilots celebrate significant victory, whether Yamamoto or not. Destroying 2 bombers in combat is success. Japanese search party locates Yamamoto April 19th. Morning. Wreckage site in jungle. 3 kilometers inland from coast. Yamamoto found still strapped in seat. Thrown clear during impact. Still clutching katana sword. White-gloved hands. State of great dignity according to reports. Autopsy reveals 2 bullet wounds. 1 in left shoulder. 1 entering below, left jaw exiting through right eye. Either wound instantly fatal. Time of death, impact or immediately after. April 18th, 0934 hours local time. The Japanese Navy announces death May 21st. 1 month delay. Attempting to conceal loss, state funeral held June 5th. National Day of Mourning. Yamamoto posthumously promoted to fleet admiral. The loss is devastating to Japanese morale. Naval personnel particularly affected. Yamamoto is respected, admired, considered irreplaceable. His death confirms the war is not going well. Confirms American capability to strike anywhere. Confirms vulnerability. American press speculates immediately. Reports mention bomber shot down over Bougainville. Reports mention possibility of senior officer killed. May 31st. Time magazine publishes separate stories. 1. Japanese announcement of Yamamoto death. 2. American P-38 pilots shoot down 3 bombers over Bougainville. Wondering if they killed important persona. The stories are pages apart. Together they compromise operational security. The British are furious. They did not suffer Pearl Harbor. They do not share American emotional investment in Yamamoto. They believe killing one admiral not worth compromising, code breaking. The Japanese might deduce their codes are broken, might change codes, intelligence advantage lost. The Japanese do not change codes. They do not deduce compromise. They believe coastwatchers reported Yamamoto boarding aircraft, radioed intelligence to Americans. This explanation is plausible. Coastwatchers exist throughout Solomons, local islanders, Australian observers. They report Japanese movements constantly. Radio networks are extensive. The Japanese accept this explanation. The codes remain unbroken in Japanese estimation. American intelligence advantage continues. Major John Mitchell receives Navy Cross, downgraded from Medal of Honor. The compromise published in Time magazine leads to downgrade. Security breach is punished. All killer flight pilots receive Navy Cross. Lanphier and Barber dispute who shot down Yamamoto. Dispute lasts decades. Lanphier claims credit, publicly, extensively. Barber claims credit, less publicly. Evidence supports Barber. Wreckage analysis shows Yamamoto's Betty hit from behind, consistent with Barber's attack profile, inconsistent with Lanphier's claimed side attack. Japanese autopsy shows bullets entered from behind, traveling forward, consistent with Barber. Witness testimony from surviving Japanese escort pilots supports Barber. Modern analysis concludes Barber shot down Yamamoto. Lanphier shot down nothing. Possibly engaged zeros. Possibly fired at bomber without hitting. Credit goes to Barber, posthumously. Barber dies 2002. Lanphier dies 1987. Neither alive when final determination made. The G4M continues service. Production continues. Losses continue. Crews continue dying. Later variants carry Yokosuka MXY-7 Oska, suicide rocket. The G4M carries Oka near target. Releases. Oka pilot guides rocket bomb into Allied ship. Kamikaze. The G4M carrying Oka is slow, heavy, unmaneuverable. Easy target. March 21st, 1945. 16 G4Ms carrying Okas intercept by American fighters. All 16 destroyed. All Okas jettisoned short of target. All crews killed. 64 men. 1 mission. Complete loss. This is repeated. April 1st. Okas hit battleship USS West Virginia. Hit 3 transports. April 21st. Oka sinks destroyer USS Manart Ella Belle. First Allied ship sunk by Oka, but the carrier G4Ms continue dying. The math is brutal. 1 Oka hit requires multiple G4M sorties. Each sortie costs aircraft and crews. The exchange rate is unsustainable. August 15th, 1945. Japan surrenders. War ends. Few G4Ms remain. Most destroyed in combat. Most destroyed on ground. Allied bombing. Strafing. 4 days later. August 19th. 2 G4Ms land Ishima Island. Painted white. Green crosses replacing Hinamaru red circles. Surrender markings. Carrying Japanese surrender delegation. General Torishiro Kawabe leads delegation. Flies to Philippines. Meets General Douglas MacArthur. Signs preliminary surrender agreement. The 2 Bettys. 1 G6M1L 2 transport variant. 1 regular G4M1 bomber. Disarmed. Both aircraft allegedly destroyed shortly after. Scrapped or accidentally destroyed. Records unclear. Thus ends Betty bomber combat career. Surrender delegation transport. Final mission. Fitting perhaps. The aircraft that carried Yamamoto to death carries Japan to surrender. The lessons are obvious. Range without protection is suicide. Speed without armor is vulnerability. The G4M achieved unprecedented range, achieved good speed. These were remarkable engineering achievements. Kiro Honjo created exactly what the Navy specified. He delivered the performance requested, but the specifications were flawed. The Navy demanded impossibility. They demanded long range and high speed and heavy bomb load without weight penalty. Honjo gave them this by eliminating protection. No armor, no self-sealing tanks. This worked in 1941. Limited fighter opposition. The G4M dominated. Sank Prince of Wales. Sank Repulse. Destroyed Clark Field. Achieved remarkable successes. But war evolved. Allied fighters improved. Tactics improved. Numbers increased. By 1943, every American fighter can destroy G4M easily. One burst, two bursts, fire. Crash. Crew dead. The loss rates are catastrophic. The crews are brave, extraordinarily brave. They fly knowing odds. They die doing duty. But bravery cannot overcome fundamental design flaw. The aircraft catches fire too easily. The nickname is accurate. Flying lighter. One shot lighter. Hamaki. Type 1 Zippo. All refer to same characteristic. Ignites easily. Burns completely. Kills crew. Mitsubishi attempts fixes. Rubber sheets. Carbon dioxide. Later models add self-sealing tanks. Add armor. These modifications work. The G4M3 survives damage, but arrives too late. Production too small. By 1944, Japan is losing. Resources are scarce. Production capacity degraded. Allied bombing destroys factories. The few G4M3s built cannot replace losses, cannot change outcome. The total production figure is telling 2,414 aircraft. Compare to American production. Boeing B-17, 12,731 produced. Consolidated B-24, 18,482 produced. North American B-25, 9,816 produced. The G4M, 2,414. The G4M was Japan's primary land-based bomber. Only land-based bomber in mass production entire war. 2,414 aircraft is inadequate. American industrial capacity overwhelms Japanese industrial capacity. The numbers tell the story. Japan cannot compete, cannot match production, cannot replace losses. The G4M crews fight bravely, die bravely, achieve some successes, but cannot change mathematical reality. Too few aircraft, too many enemies, too much firepower arrayed against them. The final irony is Yamamoto himself, the man who understood American industrial might, the man who studied at Harvard, the man who traveled across America, the man who saw factories, saw resources, saw population. He knew Japan could not win prolonged war. He said so. Before Pearl Harbor, he argued against war, argued for negotiation. His objections were overruled. Military faction dominated government. War faction won. Yamamoto, loyal officer, executed the plan he opposed, planned Pearl Harbor, executed Pearl Harbor, achieved tactical success, strategic failure, brought America into war, united American public, created enemy with unlimited industrial capacity and absolute determination. Yamamoto knew this, knew what he had done, knew the consequences, continued fighting because duty demanded it, honor demanded it. He dies in G4M because that is Navy standard transport. Senior officers fly in G4M, always. The aircraft has range for Pacific Islands, has capacity for staff, has speed for rapid transit, has no armor because armor was deleted for range, has no self-sealing tanks because self-sealing tanks were deleted for range. The same design philosophy that allowed G4M to sink Prince of Wales killed Yamamoto. The bomber that achieved greatest success became the coffin that carried the admiral to death. Rex Barber fires the burst that kills Yamamoto. Barber does not know which bomber carries Yamamoto, does not know if Yamamoto is even aboard. He attacks because orders require it. Destroy bombers. Both bombers. One carries Yamamoto. Barber destroys that one. Later, he learns the target, learns the success. But in the moment, at 0934, he is pilot executing mission, firing guns, destroying enemy bomber. The bomber catches fire because G4M always catches fire, always has. This is the aircraft. This is the design. This is the consequence of choosing range over protection, speed over survivability, performance over crew safety. The mathematics are simple. One burst, perhaps two. The fuel ignites. The wing burns. the aircraft falls. This happens to G4M throughout the war, thousands of times. Different crews, different missions, same result: fire, crash, death. Yamamoto's death is not unique in method, only in consequence. The aircraft that carried him died the same way hundreds of other G4Ms died, performing the same mission they always performed: carrying important people, carrying bombs, carrying torpedoes, flying long range, flying into combat, encountering enemies, taking fire, burning, falling. The G4M served Japan entire war, from December 1941 to August 1945. 3 years, 9 months, every major campaign. Every theater: China, Philippines, Malaya, Netherlands, East Indies, New Guinea, Solomons, Central Pacific. Everywhere. The Navy relied on it. Had no alternative. The G4M performed missions it was designed for, performed other missions it was not designed for. Long-range reconnaissance, long-range transport, kamikaze carrier. Whatever Navy required, the crews flew. The aircraft served. Many did not return. Most did not survive war. 2,414 built. Few dozen survived to surrender. The attrition rate was total. Today, few G4M aircraft survive. Most were destroyed. Combat, scrapping, neglect. The Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum preserves forward fuselage of G4M3 Model 34. Best preserved example in world. Not complete. Nose section, flight deck. 10 feet of fuselage, enough to show what aircraft looked like, how crew stations arranged, how cramped conditions were, how little protection existed. Visitors can see, can understand, can recognize vulnerability. Other museums have fragments, pieces recovered from crash sites, engines, propellers, smaller components, but no complete flying example exists. No complete static example exists. The G4M is extinct, exists only in photographs, documents, memories of men who flew it, fought against it, survived it, or did not survive it. The memories fade. The survivors die, one by one. The generation that knew G4M passes. What remains is history, technical data, performance figures, lost statistics. The story of aircraft that achieved remarkable range and speed by sacrificing everything else. The story of crews who flew death traps because duty required it. The story of Admiral who died and won because the same design philosophy that gave Japan its longest range bomber also gave America its easiest target. The question remains, was it worth it? The range, the speed, the performance. Were these worth the cost? The answer depends on perspective. The Navy got what it specified. Long-range attack bomber, capable of reaching targets beyond any other Japanese bomber, capable of striking Darwin from Netherlands, East Indies, striking Guadalcanal from Rabaul, striking Ceylon from Malaya. This range was strategically valuable, allowed operations across Pacific, allowed force projection, allowed reach. The speed was tactically valuable, allowed attacks before interception, allowed escape after bombing. Sometimes, these capabilities were real. These capabilities mattered, but the cost was also real. The crews who burned, the aircraft that fell, the missions that failed because bomber was destroyed before reaching target, the losses that could not be replaced, the attrition that degraded capability, the morale effect of watching comrades die, the knowledge that every mission might be last. These costs were enormous, unsustainable. By 1944, G4M squadrons were shadows, depleted, exhausted, equipped with worn aircraft, crewed by inexperienced replacements, flying fewer missions, achieving fewer successes, dying same as always. The cost exceeded benefit. The range was no longer advantage because bases were closer. Speed was no longer advantage because American fighters were faster. Heavy armament was no longer advantage because American bombers had heavier armament and armor and self-sealing tanks. The G4M became obsolete, but continued service because nothing replaced it. Nothing could replace it. Japan lacked resources, lacked production capacity, lacked time to design and field replacement. The G4M served until surrender. By default, by necessity, by absence of alternative. This is the story of Mitsubishi G4M Betty, the flying lighter, the cigar, the one-shot lighter, the Type 1 Zippo, the bomber that flew farther than any other, faster than most others, carried more bombs than expected, achieved significant successes, sank major warships, destroyed air bases, struck targets across Pacific, and killed its crews with ruthless efficiency because the same features that gave it range and speed also made it flying bomb waiting for spark. Rex Barber provided the spark on April 18, 1943. The Betty burned as Betty's always burned. Yamamoto died as so many G4M crewmen died. In fire, in jungle, far from home. The aircraft performed as designed. Long-range transport. It carried Admiral exactly where he needed to go. Then it caught fire and killed him. This is what the G4M did. This is what it always did. Fly far, burn easy, fall fast. The mathematics never changed. Only the names of the dead.